Good morning. How is everybody today? Great. Did anybody sleep last night?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Well, my name is Dr. Emily Letran, and I'm a high performance coach. And I am so honored to be speaking to you today. And first, I want to say thank you to Tonya for putting on this great event. Please give her a warm round of applause. I want to say thank you to all the speakers who have traveled to speak here today. I only had a 5.5 hours drive, but I know some of you fly all the way from the United Kingdom to come here and speak. And I also want to say thank you to all of you who took the time to come here on a Saturday to invest your time, your effort to learn a few strategies. If you go to Nuggets, to grow your business. So please give yourself a round of applause also. Woo! And actually what I like to do is for you to turn to the person to the right and the left of you and just shake them up and say, thank you for being here. Thank you. And to start, I like to give everybody a gift. Is that okay? Yes, if you want to take out your cell phone, and you can text to the number 21777, and you just text the word FAST. So the number is 21777, text the word FAST, and you're going to get an ebook that shares my story and my strategies to grow my business. 21777, and you text the word FAST. You got to be fast. So who is Emily Letran? Well, you know, I was born in war-torn Vietnam back in the late 60s. So growing up, I have a loving family. Both of my parents were philosophy teachers. We live in an extended family. My mom and dad, there are 4 of us, and my 2 aunts and their kids. Growing up every night, I watched horrific images of the war on TV. There were bombings. There were dead bodies. There were people fleeing villages. In 1975, the communists took over Vietnam. And that began long, dark days. The days where books and music were censored because they were deemed to be anti-communist. I couldn't even read the comic books that I used to love. There were long lines to get food from the government. You could only buy whatever the government wants to sell to you. So as a kid, I used to stand on one of these lines, getting old rice, stale bread, sometimes moldy noodles. And that's how I grew up. A year after the communists took over, my mom passed away due to cancer. And then in 1981, Vietnam was going to go to war again. They want to go to war with China in the north and Cambodia in the west. So they were drafting all the young men. So my aunt decided to leave the country. She was leaving the country with her 2 kids, my older brother, and 2 other cousins. So the cousins were 16, 15, my older brother was 14. They were drafting all the young men. As soon as you finish high school, you're going to be drafted. And she didn't want to be part of that war. So I'm a girl, I'm not going to be drafted, but my dad told me, you're the oldest girl in the family. You need to go help your aunt. So I left the country. I left my dad and my 2 younger siblings. And I never saw him again. How many of you have been on a cruise? Good, quite a few of you. We got something in common. My first cruise was on a fishing boat. It was about 50 feet in length with 60 people crammed together like sardines. I remember crawling onto the boat late at night. And all the adults were looking at us kids going, shh. Because if we make noise, we'll probably get caught. And when we were out on the sea for about a day, we did get caught by the Vietnamese Coast Guard. They stopped us, they robbed us, but luckily they let us go. So we were on the boat for 7 days. The first 2 days we had some food. The next 5 days, just sip of water. It's a 7-day cruise, right? I told you. How many of you have been to an exotic location? Cool. Well, my exotic location was a refugee camp, where I live in makeshift shelter with limited food, water, and electricity. So when I came to this country, my luggage were hope and faith. I remember staying up every night translating almost every word from English to Vietnamese so I could understand what I was taught. I walk around school with this pocket-sized dictionary, and at night, I'm using the big blue one. I used to wake up every morning to deliver newspaper. And I would wake up at 5 a.m., rain or shine, fold the paper, put it in a bike, and go around throwing it on the porches. This is back in the day when people were still reading newspaper. I think I was making $100 a month. We used to live in a 2-bedroom apartment. There were a couple more cousins came, there were 10 of us. 10 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was the one that get to sleep on the floor for several years because we didn't have a bed for 10 people. This is actually the apartment that we used to live on. Thanks to technology, I went and I Googled it, and then here it comes. I remember the address. That's the exact same apartment. It used to not have a gate in the back. And I inherited this car when I was in dental school. I remember my trip going downtown LA to volunteer for a free dental clinic. On my way home, the car died. I was standing by the side of the freeway, waving to people. And finally, a tow truck came, took me back to a shop close to my apartment. I left the car there, knowing very well that I had no money to take it out. Because my grant check and my scholarship check, they weren't coming until another 2 weeks. I finally did get it out. I borrowed money from some of my friends. So going through all that, I really strive. I finished my undergrad in 3 years. I finished magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa, at UC Riverside. I remember the phone call. They called me up and said, "Congratulations, you made Phi Beta Kappa." And I asked them, "What is it? And how much does it cost?" Because all these Greek words, it just sounds expensive. And then I finished my dental school in 4 years. I finished the dental degree and a master in oral biology. This is actually my graduation picture walking down from Royce Hall at UCLA. Looked pretty good, huh? Yeah. I don't know what happened. Thank you. And then when I finished school, I really, really strive. I bought my first dental practice, second dental practice, third dental practice. I got married, have 3 beautiful children. I have control of my schedule. I would wake up in the morning, drop the kids off at either the babysitter or at the school. I would work until 2 o'clock, go pick them up, either take them back to the babysitter when they were younger. Sometimes I take them to work with me. Then come back to work at 4, work until 6. I was going along real well. Until one day, my son came to me. He was in second grade. He said, Mommy, next week I have a recital. I want you to be there. It's at 11:30 in the morning. 11:30 in the morning. That means I have to leave work at 11, drive to school, sit there for half an hour, watch 2 songs, take some pictures, drive back to work for an hour, drive back to school, pick them up, drop them off, drive back to work for 2 hours, go home. So I went to my oldest daughter. She's 4 years older, and I said, Jennifer, I don't remember going to a recital in the middle of the day for you. And she looked at me and she said, Mom, I did have a recital. You just didn't come. And that was like a slap in the face, because here I am thinking that I'm doing pretty good. But I missed that special moment in my daughter's life. And that's when I made a decision that I'm going to do everything I could. I'm going to be investing in myself, learning how to be really, really productive, so I can do well at work and still not missing any time with my family. Now, just so you know, later on, after all of my guilt trip, my daughter told me, you didn't come, but you sent Auntie. So it wasn't as bad, but I still made that decision. So I just told you my journey, the difficulty in learning English, coming to this country with just my aunt, no parents, having no money, just grant scholarship, holding jobs most of the time, and trying to balance work and life. So I have a couple of questions for you. What is your boat story? Do you have any challenges? Maybe it's a difficult relationship. Maybe it's a financial difficulty. And do you have a recorder story? Are you at that point in your life where you need to make a change, where you need to do something different? Because if you do, I can help you with that. So exactly what is high performance? High performance is the result of heightened and sustained level of clarity, energy, productivity, courage, and influence. Clarity is knowing who you are, what you're all about, what you want, and do you know how to get what you want? So it's interesting that Carmen had just said to think of 3 words that describe you. I'd like for you to think of 3 words that describe your ideal self. So I invite you to just close your eyes for a moment and think of 3 words that describe your ideal self. These are 3 words that you want people to say when they're describing you. These are 3 words that you aspire to become. Does everybody have the 3 words? Yes? Okay, you can open your eyes, and when I say each word, please shout it out. So your word 1 is? Just shout out. How about word 2? How about word 3? Okay, that was really weak. We're going to try it again. These are the 3 words that make you proud. So word 1 is? Great. Word 2 is? Great. And word 3? Great. Now I'd like for you to write that down. And after the conference or during break, put that in your cell phone as an alarm and have it set off spontaneously, randomly, maybe twice a day. When that alarm goes off and you go to turn it off, you're going to look at those 3 words. They're going to remind you who you're supposed to be. They will keep you grounded. The question that you can ask yourself is, do you know what you really want? And do you know the plan of action to move you closer to those goals? And that's part of clarity. Productivity. Productivity for a high performer is all about the power of intention. Remember, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. You know, some people think about productivity as a checklist, right? Write everything down, check them off, I'm productive. Well, it's not a checklist. Like I said, it's about the power of intention. How many of you have gone online to look up something and the next thing you know, you're on Amazon? Right? And then you click on another link, and then you click on another link, and you have web browser blackout. When you go online, make it intentional study. You're supposed to be studying something, and as soon as you finish looking at that, just get offline. I want you to just take a moment and write down 6 activities that you do. Just take a minute, just write down 6 activities that you do every day. And after you write those 6, put a check mark next to one that is actually income producing. So just FYI, checking emails may not be one of them. Facebook messages to friends may not be one of them. So when you go home, I invite you to look back at this list. And if you can make sure that those 6 activities are all income-producing activities, I think you're going to see a difference in your level of productivity. Productivity is also learning how to say no. I like this picture. Lucy says, not everyone likes me. And at the bottom, it says, but not everyone matters. Learning to say no is something like, let's not go pick up your friend from the airport. There's a thing called Uber for that. How do you get to productivity fast? Well, you can have a mentor, somebody who can show you the way, somebody who can tell you how to train your team. Because sometimes you could be the CEO, the boss, but you may not be the best team leader. I don't know if anybody realized that. And once you train your team, you make sure that you inspect what you expect. You track all those measurements. How many people in here have a to-do list? Right, the rest of you don't have anything to do? So only a couple of people have a to-do list, right? How about a not to-do list? Things that you actually don't have to do. You know, several years ago, like 1999, I sat down and I wrote down everything that I do in my dental office, and I look at what I have to do in order to run that dental office. Like, that's the one thing that only I can do. And there was nothing in the dental office that I'm the only one that could do. I could have associate doctors who do that. I could have specialists who do that. So if you look at your business that way, there are certain things that you don't have to do yourself. It has to be done, but it doesn't have to be you. That's the idea. How about a not now list? I have clients who come to me and say, I want to do all these 10 things, they're all important. And then I would ask, what is your goal right now? Okay, making some money. Well, of these 10 things, which ones will make money right now? And those are the things that you concentrate on because those are your goals right now. And the rest of them, they go on the not now list. When you're productive, you can achieve your goal much faster. So go through your day with intention. Learn from an expert so you don't have to learn the mistakes. There are certain mistakes that you can learn from. You don't have to make them. Learn from other people's mistakes. Let's talk about influence. Influence for a high performer is all about being a role model. Several years ago, I wanted to share my story, that little short version that I just shared with you earlier, and I wrote my first book called From Refugee to Renaissance Woman. And I wrote that book to share my story and to inspire people to action. And then I wrote my second book, Commit to Embracing Your Big Life. And in this book, I also share my strategies for business. So when you position yourself as an expert, you immediately create influence. Susie is not in the room, but Susie can help you write your book. And I put myself in situations where I'm going to be highlighted. So this is me being highlighted in Dental Town. It's the largest international dental publication. The magazine features my story and then my philanthropy. So do things to become memorable. This is me being featured in the Global Woman magazine based in the UK. Again, I put myself in a place and I'm doing certain things to get myself on the magazine. And it all has to do with intention. It's a picture of one of my office in the front. I have a frame article from the magazine and then the frame of my books. And then when the patients walk down the hallway, they see all of these certificates along the hallway. And then they think that I'm really smart. So show people what you do. Do things and show people what you do. You can be an influential person by being a giver. This is me doing a dental mission in Costa Rica. And then I rent out a movie theater and I invite my patients to come. It's about giving. You can also have influence by association, hanging out with the right people. Hopefully they rub off on you a little bit, but really, when you hang out with the right people and you're actually doing things, you're following their footsteps, you can just achieve success faster. This is a picture of me and Michael Gerber of the E-Myth. And over here, that's the dean of the dental school. I came back and served as the president of the Alumni Association for 2 years. And what about your kids? You definitely want to be a role model for your kids. This is me at CEO Space. That's my daughter. When I go to CEO Space, which is an international business organization, we do networking. We do brainstorming. And they're the kids doing the exact same thing. You want to be an influencer by showing appreciation. I mentioned earlier to give back to your clients. This is me giving a TV out for referrals, sending patients on a cruise. This is a grandpa in my dental office. Every year he comes in and asks me for a donation for his grandkids' baseball team. And then after the season, he would come in with a plaque and ask me to put it up on the wall. So what do? I gave him a nail and a hammer, and I told him, you can put it wherever you want. So that's his wall right there with all the plaques. And you know what? The grandkid is not even my patient. But it's okay, because I'm doing it for him. I would like to have the grandkid. No, just kidding. Like I said earlier, we have movie night for our patient. So we create these homemade tickets. And when the patients come, we make it fun. You do that for your clients. Here's in the movie theater, we throw them around a Frisbee. How do you influence your team? You use tools and strategies to understand your team. One of the things I use is the Kolbe test. Anybody in here know the Kolbe? Okay, the Kolbe tells you your mode of action. And if I can figure out my mode of action, and I play to my strength, and then I could figure out what my staff mode of action is, I'm going to eliminate or lower the level of stress, the level of conflict that I have. How do you influence your team? Have parties with them. We dress up here for one of the patient party. How can you be an influencer in the community? Again, you give back. Every month I have a free dentistry day where I give free basic dental care to veterans and families of disadvantaged background. So how do you implement all this? Fast. Well, you invest in the experts. You learn from the right people. Brendon Burchard is my high-performance coach, and Sharon Lecter is my mentor. And why would you want to be a high-performing leader? Because you can do things like this for the community. The local community, you can do things like this for the global community. One of the reasons I become a high-performance coach, and by the way, I'm still practicing dentistry for those of you who think I quit, is that I can have more of a global impact, because it's hard to do dentistry in another country, right? But I can certainly have client in another country for coaching. My speaker journey, back in 2015 is when I spoke for the very first time in front of 20 people. 5 of them were my friends, which was great. Then I didn't speak for a whole year. Then I came back, and the second time I spoke was on a TEDx stage in Walnut, California. And then I put myself on those stages. Sometimes I invest money to speak. Sometimes I'm trading stages. But it's very intentional to grow myself personally and in my business. This is me actually in the UK about a month and a half ago at the Migrant Women Conference. And that's with the Women Network with Michelle Patterson. So why am I doing all this? I'm doing this for my kids, my 3 children. That's my son over there at CO Space. He checked in as a kid who doesn't speak, and when he checked out, he was grabbing people's mic to speak. My middle son, this is his graduation picture from middle school. He's about to finish his first book. He's actually going to launch it at CEO Space in August 17. And this is my daughter. I took her to Brendan Burchard's event so I can plant the seed and make sure that they start out as high performers. So did you learn something valuable in the past 20-some minutes? Yeah? Great. Some of these concepts are helpful to grow? Are you willing to invest and learn to improve yourself? Well, then I want to invite you to high performance coaching. What I have is an online course. There are 5 modules to the online course. It's called Action to Wins. The value of that is $197. I also would include a bonus to have a ticket to go to my event. It's actually coming up in about 2 weeks in Costa Mesa, California. The value of that is $247. There are going to be multiple speakers there. Tonya is going to be there in the October event. We're going to have a web TV person there interviewing you as influencers. We're going to talk about high performance strategies and business strategies. You can get a 1-hour coaching with me on how to jumpstart and grow your business. You're going to be a guest on my radio show. We do that every Friday from 8 to 8:55 a.m. So the total value of that is $944. And because of Tonya, and I really, really appreciate everybody being here, I'd like to offer that for $97. And I invite you to come to the event coming up in about 2 weeks to learn with me. So who's ready to grow the business and your personal life to the next level? Yeah? Great. So I thank you very much for your attention, and may the floss be with you. Thank you.